What's going on, everybody? All right, so the former CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, made an appearance on the Trigonometry podcast where he levied some pretty heavy accusations against Candace Owens. Candace responded by exposing the truth about why Jeremy had to part ways with Daily Wire, and it's bad. Also, after the fact, others piled onto this and took Candace's back, as you're about to see. Any hint of relevance that Boring had that he was clinging to on is gone. There is, of course, still the echo chamber of Zionist conservatives who will root for him. But that's the old way. And this old way, this elitist and Zionist way of conservative thinking is finished. This is something that Charlie Kirk was clearly becoming aware of in the last 6 months of his life. It's why there needed to be an intervention for him in the Hamptons. It's why Bibi Netanyahu had to speak with him. It's why the Zionist donors had to threaten and morally blackmail him until he lost his life. What made Charlie vulnerable was that he allowed Zionists to infiltrate his organization. And as soon as he started to notice this shift from the old way of your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, this version of post-World War II conservatism, their true colors were exposed. And I don't think that Charlie's death means what the people at the new Turning Point USA 2.0, that's what I'm calling it now, think it means. Leaked video from Mikey McCoy right before AmFest reveals what they believe to be God's plan in all of this, which is an Erika Kirk-led Turning Point USA. I see it differently, and I'm going to take you through that here today. Finally, Jow Rogan, and I was very disappointed to see this, mocked Candace Owens in his interview with Andrew Wilson, who has been very outspoken against Candace for the way that she has been conducting her investigation into the Charlie Kirk assassination. This gave me SNL making fun of Trump vibes. We'll start there. I'm Zach Costello.
Changed my mind.
Yeah.
What did Charlie say? Prove me wrong or something like that?
It was something akin to that. My understanding was that essentially TPUSA ripped that idea off from Crowder.
Like it.
Yeah. And then I think he feels a lot of responsibility for what happened with Kirk, because
Is he the Mossad?
what's that?
Is he the
Mossad? Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. I don't know. You got Candace's number? We can ask her.
Kansas is getting she's getting dragged on Twitter today because she's like, I've lived in Connecticut. I've never seen this much ice on trees, and it's 30 degrees out, and everybody's like, yeah, 30 is freezing.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's ice on
people
trees.
are like,
Do you see all the Miss Cleo memes?
Miss Cleo?
It's so funny.
Who's Miss Cleo?
You don't remember the Miss
the
Cleo?
psychic?
Yeah,
She's
the psychic. They keep on putting the Miss Cleo memes out for Candace because she's a psychic,
That's hilarious.
It is funny.
I think this lighter just shit the bed. Can I borrow that other one? Thank you. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Well, Candace has painted herself into a weird corner where everything has to be a wild conspiracy. Like, it has to be Bridget Macron's a man.
Oh, yeah.
Erika Kirk killed Charlie. It has to, one up the last one,
Yeah. It's really funny he came to the same conclusion that I did. So it's like, I've seen those conspiracy channels come up before, and then they come up, and then they crash out. And the reason is because... for her, I think she had the whole she was involved with this, right? She was involved intricately with Kirk. She knew him.
Yeah.
And so that gave a lot of credibility to a lot of the things that she was saying. But then once you start moving back into Mandela effect stuff and time travel and
time
this and
travel,
that, people are like, ah.
So there it is. I mean, look, I don't really have much of an issue with Andrew Wilson in general. He takes a lot of shots in the trenches fighting for Orthodox Christian values. People don't like the harsh way or manner that he goes about doing it, just like people don't like the harsh way or manner that Candace is going about the Charlie Kirk investigation. I see the value in both. So that being said, I do not agree with his take as it relates to the Candace Owens investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Andrew is good friends with Steven Crowder. He and Candace don't get along, so I think that there's some issues there, but I'm not going to get involved in that drama. What I don't like about this clip is the mockery of Candace covers up for what is actually the important meat of what she has contributed to finding the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. The investigation into his assassination is one thing, and maybe you disagree with some of the things that she's brought forth. Fine. Shooting shots in an open source investigation inevitably ends up with dead ends. But what has also been uncovered, which someone like Andrew Wilson should appreciate, and I feel like he kind of does because he alludes to it right there. And this is so important. This, I believe, to be aligned with God's plan as it relates to Charlie Kirk and his legacy. I've been talking about this. Candace exposed the way that Charlie was being treated by Jewish and Christian Zionists in the final part of his life. The death of Charlie Kirk has sparked a historically important religious debate. Charlie told Candace that she would be his David. The Goliath being fought is Christian Zionism, which has infiltrated the nooks and crannies of American media and government since the end of World War II, which marked a break in Orthodox. And when I say Orthodox, I mean original, traditional. Orthodox American belief is that of the founders. That's the same with Christianity. A conservative Christian would be an Orthodox Christian working to conserve the founding truths. It is only thanks to Candace Owens, who had the courage to counter the Zionist hijack of Charlie's legacy, who pretended like his shifting views away from this evangelical Zionist Christianity towards a more conservative and Orthodox Christianity never happened. It's only because of Candace and her courage that the public knows any of this. And she certainly has suffered the backlash for doing so. Candace revealed also that Erika Kirk verifiably lied and used Andrew Colvett to cover her tracks, releasing the words from the surgeon or the doctor that Charlie had a miraculous neck that stopped the bullet. Remember, the explanation was that Charlie, even in death, saved the lives of those behind him because his bones were so strong and it didn't allow an exit wound. Now that Erika is a social media star, that is definitely how she talks. But even more, Candace revealed that Erika was right by Charlie's side at this Hamptons intervention. Listen to this, and then I'll explain why this is so important.
Also now confirmed that she was at the Hamptons retreat, the now infamous Hamptons retreat. She was present when Bibi Netanyahu called. And that bothers me because I was out here catching a lot of heat for telling the truth. Now, we have two different versions of that story. Andrew Colvett said that Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level. I have since confirmed what Andrew Colvett said with two people that are not related to Andrew Colvett at all. Erika, despite being at that dinner and confirming that she was there, does not remember that part. She says that there was not an offer that was made and that Bibi was calling about the letter that Charlie wrote him back in May. Andrew confirmed to me that Charlie described that summit as like an intervention was being staged over Israel. So I find that to be interesting. Again, with everything that we now know, my assumption was she didn't wade into things, didn't wade into the water, and didn't say anything about the debate that was happening because she was so overwhelmed and kind of catching her breath as the new CEO and chairman. I think now I have a different perspective on that. I'm not sure why she did not come out and say, if she was capable of doing calls and sitting down and doing meetings, come out and say, like, yes, this Hampton Summit did happen. Yes, Bibi did call, and try to work through with Andrew why they have different memories of whether or not he called to fund things to the next level.
You see, I don't believe for 1 second that Erika doesn't remember what happened on that call with Bibi Netanyahu. What is also important to note is that Erika was right there while all of these Zionists were coming after Charlie and the direction of Turning Point USA. If Charlie was expressing his frustrations with Patrick Bet-David, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and even texting his Jewish friends that he had no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Are we supposed to believe that he never said anything to Erika about any of this? Erika says that she has the journals saying the direction that Charlie wanted to take Turning Point USA. Why then is not every Zionist associated with Turning Point USA fired? No. Instead, it looks like the ones that are getting fired are the ones who oppose the Zionist direction. Andrew Colvett, he was the individual closest to Charlie at Turning Point USA. And in the moments after Charlie was killed, he panicked and told Candace and Tucker to watch out. He unloaded a whole bunch of information to Candace as she's been talking about. He is the one that gave that text message thread of Charlie saying that he was turning from the pro-Israel cause to the feds because he deemed it relevant evidence. And now he is as quiet as a church mouse on anything having to do with that. You see, the people at Turning Point USA 2.0 think that it was God's plan for Erika to be in charge. Here is the most wonderful, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Mikey McCoy saying as much. Listen.
Staff meeting because Charlie had to fly back to Palm Beach with the president. And it's crazy to look back and you just kind of see the Lord kind of knitting his own beautiful image that sometimes we just don't always see. But we're blessed to be here for the second staff meeting at Amfest with you.
Yeah. God knitting that beautiful image that we do not always see. Yeah, I don't observe that the same way that Mikey McCoy does. How could any Orthodox conservative Christian? I argue that Charlie Kirk was working to pry himself and his organization from a false belief towards the truth. Charlie also stood for traditional Christian family values while he was alive. He also had a second to none ground game and his finger on the pulse of the people in America. Turning Point USA 2.0 is back to Christian Zionism, run by a woman whose kids are now in daycare or with a nanny or however they have it set up. It's certainly not conservative Christian. It's not that model that Charlie and Erika duly stood for when Charlie was alive. Dare I say, it's a feminist organization now with a leader without the dynamic it factor personality and also who is running the ground game, who is talking on a daily basis with the students in America. That was the foundation of how Turning Point USA was built. Charlie going on college campuses. Erika isn't doing it. This groundedness and understanding of the people is what made Charlie and his Turning Point USA such a powerful and influential force. It's also how he sensed the shift from Christian Zionism. Given what we know, I do not see the Erika Kirk-led Turning Point USA 2.0 honoring Charlie's legacy and direction that he wanted to take it in. And I see a hole in the market for an organization that can fight effectively for truly conservative Christian and American values. Look, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I feel called to start this type of organization. You know what? I'm just going to say this. This summer, I was pretty burned out on content creation. I was very passionate about advocating for the Trump campaign before, during, and after the election. But then I was a little turned off by some of the things that were going on. And I felt I got myself stuck as kind of like a MAGA Trump fanboy influencer. And I wasn't proud of that. I questioned what I was doing. And I thought very seriously about just going less on the daily content creation and focusing more on the business that I've been building up over the past 7 to 8 years. I have a good team and we do around $3 to $4 million a year, and they take care of a lot of stuff for me. It gives me time to do this. But my thought was, if I just go all in and focus on it, I could build it up to 10 million. We'd be good to go. Wouldn't have to worry about money anymore. And the rest is history. Anyway, Then came September 10th, 2025. Charlie was assassinated, and we observed a man being publicly executed for standing ultimately for these same traditional American and Christian ideas that we've been talking about. I took it personally, and that night I had a dream. I had a dream, strangely, that I was on stage at a Turning Point USA event, which is funny because given what I'm talking about here, that ain't ever going to happen. And people were chanting at me, but they were using the name Charlie, which is weird, and I'll continue. It was very vivid, and I felt like Charlie Kirk was there, even though I've never met him in person before. I've also never told anybody this, but I felt his presence for sure. What sparked in me was a fire, and after realizing that if people are willing to kill for these ideas, that this is the most important work that I can be engaged in. Now, fast forward, and this is very strange, and I'm going to make a personal family announcement to you all right now. My wife is expecting our 6th baby, and this was completely unexpected. For all of you guys that might practice NFP or you know what that is, then you might understand what I'm talking about. But after telling our other kids, they started throwing out names. They named a bunch of them, and the name Charles came out of, I think, my daughter mentioning it. My wife and I looked at each other and we were like, Charlie Costello, like we actually kind of like it. And I think that's kind of what we're leaning towards if it's a boy. I'll let you guys know. But my wife went to her sonogram appointment, and this is where things get a little even weirder. The due date is projected to be right around September 10th. Now, am I saying that I'm claiming to be the second coming of Charlie Kirk? Absolutely not. What I am saying is that Charlie had an impact on me because I believe that he was a Christian who died for his faith and the truth. And since he died, I feel called to engage in the fight that he started to the best of my ability. I know that he did the same to many other men. I can't shake his memory. It's hard for me to do so. And for some reason, it has had a profound effect on me, and it's clarified my own vision for my work. I've started businesses before. I run a successful one now. I've built this channel from literally 0 followers and no prior media experience or contacts. Like, I don't know anybody in this industry. But I want you guys to know I am in serious talks and really considering if organizing a nonprofit whose mission is to defend Christian rights in America by identifying and fighting anti-Christianism and to educate and promote Orthodox Christian and American values is the right thing for me to do. Since mentioning this the other day, I've been encouraged by the flood of support in the comments, and many of you guys have reached out via email to ask how they can donate. There's nothing to donate to yet. I'll keep you guys all updated, but there will be a way for you to join me in this fight. In fact, I'll need all of your guys' help for sure. All Christians throughout history have had a specific fight to uphold the faith. And this is the fight of our time for a country that upholds and protects our rights to speak and worship Christ. Now, before we get to Candace Owens and the ex-Daily Wire CEO, Jeremy Boring, let's take a quick break for today's sponsor. If you're taking ibuprofen or Tylenol every day just to deal with aches and pains, you've got to hear this. Those drugs don't solve problems, they just cover it up. For most people, the real issue is chronic inflammation. That's why I want to talk to you about Native Path krill oil and why it's actually better than regular fish oil for pain. Krill oil delivers omega-3s in a phospholipid form, which means your body absorbs them more efficiently. Fish oil just passes right through you. Krill oil also contains astaxanthin, a powerful natural antioxidant that helps protect those omega-3s and supports a healthier inflammatory response. The result? Better joint comfort, less stiffness, and support at the root cause, not just a temporary fix. And it's not just about pain. Those same omega-3s are excellent for brain health, supporting focus, memory, and overall cognitive function. This is why I'm so big on it. I've been taking krill oil for years. And what I like about the Native Path krill oil is there's no fishy burps throughout the day. I urge you to look into the benefits of krill oil as it relates to your overall health, brain health, physical health. Right now, visit getnativepath.com/Zach for more information and a special bundle deal at a fraction of the retail price, backed by a risk-free 365-day guarantee. Save your gut lining and try a cleaner, all-natural but powerful approach. Native Path Krill Oil helps your body manage inflammation the way it was designed to. Again, that site, GET, nativepath.com. Getnativepath.com/Zach. All right, so the former CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, made an appearance on the Trigonometry podcast where he levied some pretty heavy accusations against Candace Owens. Candace responded by exposing the ugly truth about why Jeremy had to leave and part ways with the Daily Wire, and it's bad. Even more, you're going to want to see who piled onto this after Candace did. Watch.
Owens is engaged in as I see it, Candace is engaged in a project of self-aggrandizement. I've asked Candace on 2 separate occasions, what do you actually believe? And on both occasions, she told me, I believe what the people believe. I am the voice of the people. Never mind that that's a completely amoral statement. Never mind that I don't know who the people are in this conversation. Never mind that the people, whoever they are, can obviously be wrong. Candace is actually saying something somewhat profound. She's saying, I will say whatever gets the most reward. She may not even know that that's what she's saying, but she's articulating audience capture as a virtue.
This is incredible for so many reasons. So the first and foremost, that is obviously made up. It's such an obviously made up conversation. Who just comes in and goes, what do you believe? Zero context. And then someone just replies and says, I believe whatever the people believe. Believe regarding what? Are we talking about faith? What are we talking about? The transgender movement? We don't just ask someone. I asked her 3 times. She said, I believe whatever the people believe because I just want clicks, which is why she took this path of going up against Black Lives Matter as a Black person and putting on a Trump hat, because the easy route, that was obviously the easy route to get clicks back in 2016. It's completely ridiculous. But to pretend that I am into myself. I have to just shout this out because there are Daily Wire employees. You don't understand what we lived through, you guys. And they need to hear this. And they're just somewhere, they're passing away listening to Jeremy Boring talk about somebody who likes attention. Jeremy Boring is the CEO who woke up every day. Like, I'm his biggest regret. So many more regrets that I could toss out of him. I'm going to try a few. Like, getting up every day, going into the office and getting your hair and your makeup done to play the role of a CEO. Making talent, people who had shows, wait outside while you close the room, had people wash your hair, do your makeup, and style you. Hundreds of thousands of dollars on a clothing rack so you could go sit in the office and take phone calls like a CEO. That probably actually was the honest Jeremy. He's always been an aspiring actor. That's who he wants to be. He wants to be on a stage, and he literally builds stages every time he speaks at the Daily Wire. Jeremy Boring is a person that is so obsessed with himself and thinks about nobody else that he put the company into debt. What happened? What's the true story? What happened to the Daily Wire? Jeremy Boring was wanting to live out his boyhood theater kid dreams, right? He flew out virtually the entire company to Hungary to bring a book that he read in middle school to life on a budget that would make HBO blush, paying to transport bulls across the continent of Europe, and in the process, obviously plummeting a once financially healthy company into the ground. I am told, last number I heard, was $67 million spent on a high school dream. So much money that he had to borrow, empty his savings account, borrow money personally from Ben Shapiro to make ends meet because he couldn't let go of his high school dream. That's not ranking as his number one regret.
So Candace went on to say that because of all of this, Jeremy had a mental breakdown. I want to say this, though. Look, and I have no idea whether what Jeremy says is true. It honestly doesn't pass the sniff test for me. It seems like it's not a conversation that normal people would have with each other. I'll take things that never happened for $500, please. Also, Candace took the harder way. She went against the mainstream. And that's very difficult to do. Operating as an independent and talking about controversial things and not being a partisan is very difficult. You get heat from all sides in that scenario. It's the hardest path. Finally, this argument of self-aggrandizement on social media, come on, guys. It's kind of part of being a social media personality. Like, you're promoting yourself and your ideas. This is like accusing an athlete of being too athletic. Listening to other people listening to other media people condemn other media people for seeking attention is seriously the stupidest argument that I've ever heard. But I want you guys to look at this. The top comment underneath Candace's video that she did yesterday, pinned, was from Brett Cooper's mom, who wrote, "Brett's mom here. Thanks for revealing part of what Brett legally cannot reveal. And thanks for being an incredible friend and non-compromised soldier for truth." Okay. Candace responded, but there's this response that I want to show you where she went even deeper on X. And this is just, again, a bad look for Daily Wire here. She wrote this in response to somebody posting that Brett Cooper's mom had done this. And she wrote this in response to this about Brett Cooper, who was muzzled by the Daily Wire. Look, I didn't scratch the surface of what they did to that poor girl. She wasn't even making a lot of money at Daily Wire, but they tried to bankrupt her via lawsuits on her way out as a consequence for simply wanting to leave because Jeremy was a literal maniac who wanted dominion over her personal life. They then tried to create a conspiracy via influencers that they pay on X. Sounds familiar, to make the public believe that I had brainwashed her into this decision. You can go on and read that, but I'll read this final sentence here, which I think is really good. There's something wrong with the Daily Wire, essentially, and it operating like a cult. Fox News has not stalked, sued, and followed Tucker Carlson. They just fired him and immediately moved on. Consider the difference. Yeah. And that follows. It's this whole you either condemn and denounce or we're done with you type of behavior that we are seeing time and time again from this side. It's the same behavior that Charlie Kirk was getting so frustrated with regarding Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA events. Megyn Kelly is also getting the same heat right now. Okay. All right. I want to get to some of your guys' comments today. I've learned that super chats help grow your channel. Many of you have reached out and asked me how you can support what I'm doing. I think super chats are probably the best way to do that right now. Also, like the video. YouTube really likes that. It's good for the algorithm. It helps it spread. Otherwise, they just shut down channels that don't spread or aren't growing. And let's go. So leave a comment. Also, leave a comment on the videos. Share your thoughts. Go off. All right. One of the comments that I wanted to get to, which I thought was pretty funny, even though it was a shot at me, but I appreciate that, is look at this. So you're going to start and run a nationwide, even worldwide political organization, but you can't get your voice to sync with the pick and light your face, which I feel like that's not really fair. I feel like my lighting's not bad, but yes, I have had some technical difficulties with my camera. I admit that. Look, as a business owner, you hire people that can do things really, really well. So Greg Moore, I appreciate your kind criticism and your feedback. I'll take it in and get better because of it. Let's go to the next one. A lot of you guys are showing me a lot of support here. Charles Costello, you guys like that name. I really appreciate that. Name the baby Charlie. Jeremy is the boring. That's pretty good. Let's see here. A lot of encouragement to start that organization. I really appreciate that, guys. Like I said, it's really been on my heart and on my mind. And I think that it's something that I very realistically need to do, feel called to do. Yeah, I saw that here. So let's see. Let's bring this up. So again, thank you for the support right there. I appreciate that. Mentioning the super chats. Again, if you guys leave me a super chat, here's my promise to you. I'll get to it. All right. It's a good way to support the channel. It's a good way to help it grow. YouTube really rewards these lives for the super chats. That's how the algorithm works. So again, I appreciate you. So thank you for that donation there. Thank you for that support. Ginger Teller, again, thank you for the support. Thank you for that super chat right there. I appreciate you. Again, like I said, these are one of the best ways to support the channel here. And then make sure, again, you guys hit that subscribe button and make sure you're getting the notifications. Hit that notification bell to make sure that you are notified whenever I go live or whenever I publish a video. Sometimes, depending on the topic, depending on if it's too controversial, YouTube, they don't always cooperate with showing the stuff, with showing the videos. So anyway, again, yeah, I see some super chats coming in here. Really appreciate it, guys. Always be true. Thank you for that. Catholic men taking their mission seriously of being fruitful. Coleman's family, I assume that's Baron Coleman, has 8 kids. The Costello family has 6 kids. Yeah. I think this is important, guys, especially us men of faith. This is a time in history where I truly believe we need to step up. There's a cross for us to pick up and carry. And this is a very important time in history for us to do so. Taking on, building ourselves up from from boys into men. And that means becoming competent, getting ourselves into shape, taking care of our bodies and minds, getting out into the world and providing for our families so that we can, provide for a wife and for kids. And ideally we can have many kids, so that we can, the world is not having kids. The secular world is going extinct. Ultimately, we have to have kids if we want human civilization to continue. And I think that is specifically the responsibility of us men of faith. So I appreciate that. And I encourage all of you other young men to get on board and do the same. I know there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of, red pill content that exists out there. Look, and I get it. It's not an easy path for men. It's a hard path. We like things to be hard. It's good for things to be hard. It's not easy in this day and age, and I get that. But what I can tell you is this: the real thing does exist. The real thing does exist. You can find a good woman. Women, you can find a good man. You guys can have the real thing. It exists, and it's real, and it's worth aspiring to. All right? I believe that fully. That's a hill that I will die on day in and day out. I will die on the marriage hill, the marriage and family, nuclear family, man and woman hill. Okay? That's a hill worth dying on in this day and age. All right, let's keep going. Camille, I think that's how it is. Again, thank you for that generous donation. I really appreciate you. Same. The Bella Stella, I appreciate you. So Stella, okay, that's cool. My design build company that I'd mentioned earlier in the episode is Stello Homes. So the last part of my last name. Congratulations on baby number 6. Thank you. I wonder what my wife's going to say when she finds out that I told all of you guys and told everybody about how she's expecting. Anyway, the reason that I did is because I was so excited. Not excited, but given everything that I've told you or that I relayed to you guys today about the dream, and just about kind of how I feel more called to engage and do this since Charlie passed away. Since that all has been on my mind, and then, this potential organization has also been on my mind. When talking with my wife, who came to me yesterday and was like, "Hey, you're not going to believe what the due date is on this baby," which is like 2 weeks later than we expected. It's around September 10th. And I'm just like, what? Like, that's so weird. So in any case, yeah, thank you, Bella. I appreciate your donation there. Thank you. Elaine Thomas, thank you, Zach. I'm all in for being involved in protecting the believers. Yeah, I appreciate you. I think that's critically important. Again, we have all of these organizations that are set up to protect all of these other groups. Give them credit. Jewish people, they have an infrastructure set up that protects them. They do not want another Holocaust to happen to them. And fine. Like, I can understand the effort. Say what you want. I can understand the effort that they've put into doing this, and I get it. Christians must do the same. Like I said in my show yesterday, we've had it worse, you guys. 70 million Christian martyrs since the time of Christ, all executed for their faith, because of their faith, by secular governments, ranging from Genghis Khan through the Soviet Union, through the Bolshevik Revolution, which took out, like I said yesterday, 55 million Christians. Okay? These numbers are astronomical. We need protection as well. We need an organization. We need something, multiple organizations. Like, we need to build this thing up so that people are, so that we're on offense, so that we're fighting, and that we are going on the offense to protect our faith and our rights. Yeah, it's important, really important stuff. But all right, guys, that's all for today. I got to go. Make sure to pick up a One Nation hoodie, hat, or mug. I'm really a big fan of this logo. You can see I'm wearing this today. Look, you got the American flag, One Nation under God. You got that Christ. You got the cross there. Right? One Nation under God. Go to the merch store at zachcostello.com. There's a button right at the top. You can click merch store, and you can see that. I'm wearing it today. One Nation under God. I love these things. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm Zach Costello.